Hey, fam, and welcome back to the channel, where we tackle life's biggest questions with some raw honesty. Today, we're asking a heavy one. Why is the world so full of inequality and suffering? Why does it feel like you're grinding through pain while others seem to have it all? You know that old saying, all fingers are not equal. We're going deep into what that really means for us as humans. We'll break it down through a logical lens, looking at systems and chance. Then, we'll dive into philosophy, exploring ideas of power and justice. We'll also look at the biblical perspective from the fall to redemption. And we're not stopping there. We're going in depth on karma, past lives, cosmic cycles, the whole deal. Finally, we'll get practical with the Stoics and their hardcore views on mastering suffering. This is a big one, designed to expand your mind. If this journey resonates with you, do me a favor and smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your own why. All right, let's get into it. First up, the logical lens. Let's be real. Inequality is kind of baked into our human systems. If you're born into a wealthy family in a stable country, you've got a head start. But if you're born in a slum or a war-torn region, your life is an uphill battle from day one. The economist Thomas Piketty, in his book Capital in the 21st Century, showed how wealth just snowballs. It gets passed down through inheritance, making the rich richer. This creates a chain reaction of suffering. Poverty leads to hunger, which leads to disease, and the cycle continues. And what about our individual differences, the unequal fingers? A lot of that comes down to biology and pure chance, your genetics, or maybe an accident that changes your life forever. But let's not forget, human choices matter immensely. Corruption and greed widen the gaps between people. This isn't some grand conspiracy theory. It's more like entropy in action, a natural tendency towards disorder. Can we fix it? We can try, with better policies and social programs. But randomness and chance will always play their part. As the book of Ecclesiastes says, the race is not to the swift, but time and chance happen to them all. Now, let's get philosophical, because thinkers have been arguing about this for centuries. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, way back in 1755, argued that our natural differences are actually pretty minor. It's society that creates massive, artificial inequalities. Things like private property and social hierarchies, he said, breed envy and conflict. Then you have Friedrich Nietzsche, who had a totally different take. He saw suffering as a force that builds our will to power. He believed the strong embrace challenges, while the weak resent them, creating what he called a slave morality. The philosopher John Rawls proposed a thought experiment. If you had to design a society from behind a veil of ignorance, not knowing your own position in it, you'd probably create a system that minimizes inequality just to be safe. Albert Camus saw life as fundamentally absurd, and our suffering like Sisyphus forever pushing a rock uphill. The only way to find meaning, he argued, is to rebel against that absurdity. And for Immanuel Kant, it was all about moral duty. We have an obligation to fight injustice wherever we see it. So, are unequal fingers a bad thing? Philosophically, this diversity can spark creativity and progress, but it often comes at a steep cost. Let's turn to the biblical view. From this perspective, inequality and suffering trace all the way back to the fall of humanity in the Garden of Eden. In Genesis chapter 3, sin enters the world, and with it comes a curse of toil, pain, and struggle. Eden was a place of harmony, but now, as the Apostle Paul writes in Romans, all of creation groans in brokenness. But why do some people seem to suffer more than others? The Bible offers a few reasons. Ecclesiastes, again, points to time and chance. The story of Job shows us a righteous man who suffers immensely, not as punishment, but as a profound test of faith. The book of James tells us that trials produce perseverance and spiritual maturity. God allows suffering, but he also commands justice and compassion. Leviticus says judges should show no favoritism, and Deuteronomy commands us to care for the poor. Jesus completely flipped the script in the Beatitudes, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." So what about our unequal fingers? Proverbs reminds us, the rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. The ultimate promise is a future described in Revelation, where God will wipe away every tear and there will be no more pain. In the here and now, the Bible suggests suffering can actually draw us closer to God. As the Psalms say, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. All right, let's explore the deep and ancient concept of karma. The word itself is Sanskrit for action. In Hinduism and Buddhism, it's the universal law of cause and effect. Every single action, whether physical, verbal, or mental, creates ripples that travel across lifetimes. Karma is complex, and it's often broken down into three types. There's Sankita karma, which is the total sum of all your past actions from all your past lives. Then there's Prarabdha karma, which is the portion of that past karma that you're experiencing in your current life. And finally, there's Kriyamana karma, which is the new karma you're creating right now, in this very moment. According to this worldview, your circumstances at birth, whether you're rich or poor, healthy or sick, are a direct result of your past lives, serving as lessons for your soul. You are caught in samsara, the endless cycle of death and rebirth, until you achieve moksha or liberation. So why do you suffer? It could be the result of negative past karma. And why do you experience joy? That's the fruit of good past karma. To go even deeper, there are vasanas, which are subtle impressions or tendencies from the past that shape your current desires. And your actions are influenced by the three gunas, qualities of nature known as sattva, purity, rajas, passion, and tamas, inertia. The Bhagavad Gita offers a way to navigate this, called karma yoga. Act virtuously, but without attachment to the results of your actions. Metaphysically, some believe all actions are recorded in the Akashic records, and that suffering is a way to transmute energy and clear karmic debts. The modern spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which is like a collective, unconscious wound we all carry, a form of collective karma. How do you escape the cycle? Through dharma, rightful living, meditation, and selfless service. In this view, our unequal fingers are a form of karmic diversity, designed for the evolution of our souls. Now, let's talk about the Stoics. These ancient philosophers were absolute bosses when it came to dealing with suffering. The former slave turned philosopher, Epictetus, laid it out perfectly. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. He taught the dichotomy of control. You can't control external things, like your wealth, your health, or what other people think of you. But you can absolutely control your internal world, your attitude, your judgments, and your responses. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, The Meditations, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." He practiced amor fati, a love of fate. The Stoics believed you should not just endure what happens, but embrace it and turn every obstacle into an opportunity for growth. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote that pain is temporary and that enduring it with courage builds virtue. They believed in the logos, a universal reason that governs the cosmos. From this viewpoint, inequality is just part of a rational, natural order. We suffer to build our errate, or moral excellence. The ultimate goal for a Stoic is eudaimonia, a state of human flourishing, which is achieved through ataraxia, or a deep state of tranquility. You get there by detaching from your desires for things you can't control. Modern Stoicism has revived these ideas, using daily disciplines like journaling and negative visualization to reframe suffering and build resilience. And the unequal fingers? A Stoic would say, it doesn't matter if your finger is short or long. What matters is that you use the finger you've been given wisely. It's your lot, so make the best of it. Finally, let's touch on the spiritual and metaphysical realms. Many traditions see the world in terms of dualism, a cosmic struggle between light and dark. In the Jewish mystical tradition of Kabbalah, there's the concept of tzimtzum, where God contracts or withdraws to create space for the universe and free will. This withdrawal allows for imperfection and inequality, giving humanity the sacred task of tikkun olam, or repairing the world. The Christian tradition speaks of spiritual warfare, as in Ephesians chapter 6, where the struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world. In Sikhism, suffering arises from forgetting God and being trapped in Maya, the illusion of the material world. True equality is found only in recognizing the one divine essence, Waheguru, in all beings. Metaphysically, many believe our souls are on a journey of evolution. Karma isn't punishment, but a mechanism for clearing energetic blockages. Eckhart Tolle's pain body is the ego's accumulated suffering, which can only be dissolved through intense presence and awareness. Some theories propose that inequality is just an illusion of our three-dimensional reality, and that in higher dimensions or astral realms, all beings are recognized as equal and unified. In this grand cosmic view, our unequal fingers are like a divine fractal pattern. Each unique part is essential for the beauty and unity of the whole. So where does that leave us? The problem of inequality and suffering is incredibly complex. There's no single, easy answer. But there is hope. We can fight it logically with better systems. We can philosophize about it to find wisdom. We can seek comfort and purpose in biblical promises. We can understand it through the lens of karma. And we can endure it with stoic courage. The real question is, what's your takeaway from all of this? Let me know in the comments below. And if this resonated, please subscribe and share to help the channel grow. In the end, maybe God's got the ultimate why, but we've got the now. Peace.